No. My name is Hunter.
God damn it.
Bro, what are you doing? They're perfect. Go back. Friends, there has never been a bringer of more joy in my life than Adventure Time. Did it give me depression? Of course it did. Did I think it was ecstasy-infused drivel when it first came out? Yeah, we all make mistakes. But there is something truly special about Adventure Time and its ability to grow up with its audience. To never change what it is, but to mature anyways and give us something special. And when I say that Fiona and Cake is cooking, you have no idea. The only way I could love it anymore is if it wasn't calling me out so personally. But this show is a love letter to everyone in their 20s and grew up with Adventure Time. So honestly, we just have to shut up and take it. This is just gonna be my thoughts on the first 2 episodes and how the second was so good. It single-handedly obliterated the original video I was gonna make this week. But more on that in a bit. So if the me spoiling Huntress Wizard's XP wasn't a big enough hint that this video will have spoilers, here's your warning. Now to get this first topic out of the way that I'm sure some people are asking, can you watch Fiona and Cake if you haven't seen Adventure Time? Well, I don't think so. To be clear, I think if you are familiar with the world of Adventure Time, you will be able to mostly easily watch this show. You don't have to watch every episode. I don't think anyone, unless you've binged it, actually has. But for right now, in the first 2 that we've seen, the only thing that feels like required reading is the last half of the series finale. If you watch that, you'll get why Simon isn't the Ice King and what happened to Betty, and some lore tidbits about why the Land of Ooo has advanced the way that it has. However, besides that, if you just have like a general knowledge of Adventure Time, I think you will be mostly fine. It won't hit the same as it will for long-time viewers, but you can also join the table. If you've never seen the show though, then friends, you are shit out of luck. This is not a spin-off for the uninitiated. Rip, sorry, get out. Now to discuss the actual show itself, I am loving it. Fiona and Cake's first 2 episodes easily scratch that silly existential itch that only this show can really get at. In the first half, we have an episode dedicated entirely to Fiona, who, far from being the Ice King's fanfic, is now a normal 20-something-year-old woman trudging through life with no plan, no date, and nothing in the bank. This girl has got it rough, with it being just way too relatable as we watch her drag herself from her job, to eating, to just being here, as she is just doing the bare legal minimum to be an adult, tapping into that utter despair so many of us feel when we hit adulthood and realize there is no level up, no sudden maturity or sense of your place in the world. Only more of what came before, and how you handle it is what really determines the life you lead. Fiona, for her part, is kinda just idling around, living in a crummy apartment that she can barely afford, recovering from a recent breakup with her boyfriend, DJ Flame, with no real plan for the future other than survival, and the small daily pleasures of sweets, video games with friends, and drinking way too much wine. Fiona is all of us post-college. We painstakingly watch her feel trapped in the malaise of adulting, craving an escape that she can only fulfill by fantasy, which in Fiona's case is her nightly dreams of being the Fiona and Cake, the one where she's a hero stopping the bad guys. Cake can stretch and talk, and it's here that they are everything that Ice King talked up when he mentioned them in the original episodes, with IK himself being upgraded to mysterious handsome Ice Prince. I think this is a Sailor Moon reference, but I haven't watched that show since I was 3, so I'm just going to assume. But unfortunately, the dream comes to an end, and for reality to crash and crunch all those good feelings back inside, as necessity and obligation take precedent over being happy. Now, for as much as this calls us out and we cringe at how relatable it is, reminding me all too well of my old 9 to 5 before YouTube, there's something more going on here. Cake, more than just being a figment of Fiona's imagination in the dreamscape, is also having the same dream. Everywhere Fiona goes, we see different interpretations of old characters. And you think this is cute, this is fun, this is, oh yeah, this is that character, this is this one. It's what they would look like in a more modern world. But then you realize something else is going on, as each one talked about having a dream where they were in the Land of Ooo. They were hot dogs, banana guards, Abraca Danielle. More than just being XPs, all of them are connected to the Land of Ooo somehow. They have an awareness of their other selves. This turns what was already a strong opening, something that was relatable and fun, into something way more captivating, as you wonder just how in the world is Fiona and Cake connected to the Land of Ooo? Is what they're seeing just their fanfiction selves, or are they connected to the actual versions of themselves in the Land of Ooo? And that just makes us wonder, which part of this world world is real and what part of it is metaphor, turning what would otherwise be the most grounded section in Adventure Time ever into some kind of fugue state, where we're entertained by all the Easter eggs, we're entertained by the novelty of seeing these characters in this setting. But you're always looking for that key, that little piece of info that will reveal what the hell is going on. And so, just like Fiona, we are also looking for the magic in the mundane, which, and just a theory craft, I think all of this is in Simon's head. This isn't an alternate dimension in the traditional sense, but some of the magic that is still deep inside Simon's mind is left over from his Ice King days, creating a fictional world that has become semi-real, but still very much in his head. And I'm not entirely sure that there's anything outside of this city, as no one from out of town is on the bus. Everyone has the same dreams of the Ice King's fan fiction. All this could be just the world he created in his head. But the thing is, since the Ice King has turned back into Simon, those fantastical elements have been stripped away, leaving only the mundane slog that Fiona is now trapped in, reflecting Simon's own life in the present as he drags himself from one day to the next. Some of the remnants of Ice King's memories remain, and that's what the residents tap into when they dream. But the Betty Memorial was built 12 years ago, and I think roughly that fits with the current Adventure Time timeline, as Fiona is said to be around 29, though that fits, but I'm struggling to confirm that somewhere. But if Finn was 17 at the end of the story, that would make the monument to Betty fit chronologically, as 12 plus 17 is 29, and these are just all the years that Simon has been sane and locked away all the magic. Plus, you add the fact that Cake literally leaps out of Simon's head. They're either all in there literally, or it could be that he's just the anchor for wherever they are in the multiverse. But talk about the actual episode.
Wake up, sleepyhead. It's my turn to use the pants.
It's great, it's captivating, it's a relatable trip down memory lane as we see echoes of the characters we grew up with, all while following Fiona, our very interesting protagonist.
Turn in your uniform! You're fired!
No one even cares about your dumb tours!
Jesus, stop!
Fiona low-key is great in this. She is delightfully unhinged and hitting that reluctant adult energy that Bee from Bee and Puppycat did. She does not want to work. She is exhausted with other people's shit and just wants a little magic in her life. Like, the girl just got through a breakup. This is her 5th job this year. She is going through it, and I am enjoying her so much. Fiona is very much her own character in this, rather than just being this kind of weird copy of Finn. But they are still very close in characterization, as she does still have that same man-child energy. And that just creates a fun parallel, as we see just how someone like Finn, who can thrive in the wild adventuring environment of Ooh, yet when we see Fiona, constrained by modern life, the outlook and personality does start to change. They could have been the same character and personality, but the different environments they grew up in forced them to change into very different people. Speaking of which, of all the different interpretations, Marshall Lee is of course great.
I didn't quit. I got fired.
I'm really hoping we stay around in this town so we don't just immediately jump away from this, as I want to see just a little bit more. Like, Marshall here is the messy hot musician playing on the street corner without a care in the world, just being the cool guy. Mainly enabled by the fact that he has rich parents, but he is just low-key. He is very cool. Meanwhile, we got Prince Bubblegum, aka Gary, which... Look, there is not a lot of great names they could have picked that start with G, as just calling him Gunball in a real-life type world, that just wasn't gonna stick. But I can't say that and not think of the snail meme. As he is though, he is adorable. I don't believe he's voiced by Neil Patrick Harris here, but the new guy that they got is doing a fantastic job bringing that weird geeky energy to the role. Here though, Gary is just a baker who makes sweets, just like PB who created the Candy People. Well, she got a kingdom. His scope is limited to just having his own bakery, even though right now he's just working at one. Neurotic and nice, I cannot wait to see these two inevitably hook up, as Marshall evidently doesn't know where Fiona got her sweets from, meaning that they probably have not met yet, so this will be fun. And also we of course have Hunter, the one XP that I didn't call.
Sorry, traveler. I mean no harm. I'm just planting some weeds back here.
Then, a dude who looks like Shamar Moore shows up as the shirtless, light-skinned gardener who just got out of jail.
Excuse me, may I rake your leaves?
I love them. And their last name is also Ferd though, so joy! Nothing can possibly go wrong there. And of course, out of all the versions that we were gonna get, we just had to have LSP. So I'm just gonna move on. This whole first episode is just a quiet fever dream that you are just soaking in every second. As you enjoy being here, You like seeing these characters in this world, but you're still trying to figure out what's going on with the old one. This whole thing is an utter breath of fresh air and a great start to a slow-growing mystery, even as the show still hasn't fully shown its hand. But it's a follow-up episode that makes things really juicy, and hits us with that 1-2 punch of silly and depression. Simon's episode begins with the memory of him and Marcy hiding from the apocalypse. She's keeping him from using the crown, while he takes care of her and does his best to keep her safe. We get some lines that could be some connective tissue to what we've seen so far. Simon mentions that Marceline without him would be okay, that she'd be rich in a castle with trained squirrel servants, which could hint at two things. One, his future as the Ice King, castle, animal servants and all, but it also could hint at Marshall's role in his head, where he's the son of a richish mom who owns a building where Fiona lives. It could be nothing, or it could be everything. But like everything with Simon, it is rough. Simon is not doing great. He plays cheers every morning just like Fiona, and gets ready for a job he hates. While she's a tour bus guide showing off her world, Simon's job is showing off his world but in a weird self-exhibit. We're unable to connect with the people of Vu, nor the futuristic humans from the islands. He's set himself up as a human exhibit about what life was like in the 20th century. Simon is very worrying, as we see that Simon is, well, he's just not doing okay. He's still obsessed with his fiancée Betty, who was obsessed with him, and nearly ended the world and had to fuse with Cthulhu to stop it. Simon survived. He went from the Ice King to Simon and got to stay that way, but he has hit a wall of existential dread as he just has no idea what to do with his life. The man is desperate to move on from being the Ice King, but people just keep bringing it up rather than asking about his previous normal life. Fiona and Cake, the Ice King's fanfic, has become a hit book that human children just will not stop asking him about, with this depression hitting obviously dangerous levels as we see a makeshift shrine to Gold, showing that he's been thinking about contacting Gold Betty, which can't end well in any respect. But this all just goes to show just how broken Simon is right now, as this man has a whole world in front of him. He's getting on in his years, his hair is turning gray, but he's not the Ice King anymore. He's finally Simon. Yet in spite of all the possibilities to live his own life, he's still here, pining for Betty, ignoring everything that he could be to claw and try to recreate what he had. Like, he at the very least knows that he has a problem. Talking about how he used to dress up as the Ice King just to cope with the world that he was living in, and how on some levels, he misses being him. Even if it was just like some weird fugue state. But at least when he was like that, he didn't have to think about who he is and all that he had lost, and worst of all, what he's gonna do. Existential dread about the future and your place in the world is all over these first two episodes. It's asking the question of, in the absence of a set plan or goal in life, what do you do? In Fiona's case, it's avoiding the question, just trying to survive and retreat into fantasy. Meanwhile, IRL Finn is just keeping himself busy after the death of Jake by constantly doing anything and anything to distract himself, something that he ends up dragging Simon along to. But Simon himself is just weighed down by all this dread and malaise over what he's doing, and the only time we ever see him perk up even a little bit is when he talks about the past and how Betty saved his buns and cooked him a meal when they were on an expedition. To be Simon right now is to suffer. This has always been the case, but now it's different, as it's not an external influence put upon his psyche. Right now, this is all him. So I'm fascinated to see how they're going to play with this as the series goes on, as he's forced to meet his imaginary characters popping out of his head, and who will inevitably start reveling in all the stuff that he's putting off. Simon has never been more fascinating than he is right now. I also think that the presentation for this show is top notch. Everything here is so detailed. Every little thing you look at is like, okay, stop. There's at least 3 interesting things here. There's so much detail, so many little Easter eggs, and just the direction in general is phenomenal. While it has a bunch of fun numbers and just great designs, the show knows how to just get quiet and just convey the uneasy mental state that Simon is in right now, to let him stew in his thoughts and for us to actually feel worried. And like, think about that. A man is at a bar being served drinks by an undead root beer guy surrounded by candy people. Yet despite the room being filled with music, it always feels so distant. Simon's sense of isolation is just bleeding through the cracks here, as he is just not doing okay. Fiona and Cake still has those fun, silly bits we'd always get from Adventure Time, but is also a lot more willing to fully lean into those quiet moments and to have those moments stick throughout the show. The show, for the lack of a better word, feels mature. The series has aged like a fine wine, and it is delicious, even as the anxiety is sinking in. And again, Finn is also here. He is great. He is kinda Giga Chad levels, and he is just handling everything. That isn't his grief of losing Jake. Also, his bro got fucking jacked after his death. God, what the fuck? But Finn here decides to drag Simon to distract him from his problems, as he is kind of the only one Simon can talk to right now, as he doesn't want to mention anything to Marcy for fear of bumming her out. So the two go off. Then to go back for something a little bit lighter, as they don't want to kill Simon just yet. But in a callback to the Hall of Egress, Finn blindfolds the both of them to just have them wander around Ooh. As in Finn's words, Finn thinks that the universe will put them where they need to be, which involves also nearly dying. Again, Finn is unhinged badass in this. Killed that thing, blood fits surprisingly well in this show, and he also snapped a bear's throat. What the hell? Also, he brings up Hunter Wizard twice in this episode and goes to visit her after the end. Which, guys, I think they're officially canon.
I love it when I win.
We wrap up this adventure with a sweet, sweet Rebecca Sugar banger. Simon is at his lowest, tries calling Marceline only for her to be busy and can't hear him. She's attempting to get matching tattoos with her girlfriend, but the happy couple noises are just not great for Simon, who continues to be surrounded by coupleship. Salt is in that wound, and he decides to do the dumb thing and try to contact Gold Betty, revealing that he also has evil Choose Goose.
The portal won't open, you massive fake! You belong in the trash with Fiona and Cake!
Using him like a battery like Betty used Maja, Simon attempts to make contact, with it naturally blowing up in his face. But the magic has taken effect somehow, with Cake being summoned to his world while Prismo's TV gains a new button, which, Prismo being an interdimensional being who can grant wishes, if that's bringing something to his attention, then you know things are bad. But overall, these two episodes are amazing. Fiona and Cake is cooking up something and I am hooked, which is really crazy since the main plot has not started yet. These first two episodes are just establishing the world and the characters, and the inciting incident doesn't really happen till the end of each. We have no real idea where this is gonna go from here, but based on everything that we've seen, I'm sold. If this show costs money, I'd pay for it every week, and tip if I could, which I'm gonna try to do by donating to the SAG Foundation, which supports all those currently on strike. Link in the description, go check it out. I am just so jazzed to see where this series is gonna go, and I just know that this thing is gonna be the highlight of my September. Check it out if you haven't already. I probably won't be reviewing this one week to week, but you never know. Come on, I might get bored. Either way, subscribe to my channel to be kept up to date on all my nonsense, like and share. Truly, I had a Betty and Simon video planned for this week, but there was just so many bombs in this premiere that I couldn't really release the video as it basically destroyed my entire thesis. So I do feel like the idea of letting go will be very prevalent in this one, but we'll just have to wait and find out.